Welcome to my podcast, Rashad in Conversation. Today I'm joined by Graham Briggs. Graham is a management leader with more than 27 years of experience helping organizations deliver complex infrastructure and capital programs with clarity, structure, and measurable results. A licensed professional engineer and certified project management professional, he specializes in quality management systems, lifecycle management, and data driven decision making that align business goals with effective project execution. As a director at PMA Consultants, Graham works alongside agencies and business leaders to implement practical frameworks, standards, and tools that strengthen governance, improve predictability, and elevate team performance. He is known for translating technical complexity into simple, actionable processes that empower both seasoned professionals and those in their early careers. Graham, I'm excited to have you join this conversation. It's early morning for you. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks, Rashad.
More than 27 years of experience is fantastic, but I'm sure this introduction doesn't do you justice. So can you share with us your career journey? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So I started as a civil engineer. I went to college for civil engineering. And worked on the Big Dig in Boston. That was my first job. If you're familiar with the projects in the U.S., Big Dig at the time was the largest infrastructure project. I'm basically taking the elevated highway, and putting it underground, and through a 300-year-old city. So a lot of complexities. I worked in the project controls group. So pretty much right away when I got into, I figured, all right, civil engineering, it's a great civil engineering project, but I veered over to the project management side, project controls, and found that it was a lot more fun to look at schedules and try to play out how the project was going to go rather than do calculations on a sheet.
Hmm.
And I quickly turned, I still have my civil engineering background, but quickly turned into the project management, focusing on, why projects are failing and succeeding in cases. Um, I guess the cool part was on most projects, the technical world was different. Technical skills for everyone. You're dealing some with laborers, you're dealing some with executives, and try to get everyone to talk on the same playing field was sometimes tough. The second project I was on was a design build, so you had the contractor in the building with you while we're trying to design it, literally over your shoulder, saying, "When are we going to get out there? We want to dig. We want to dig." And we kept saying, you got to hold on. We got to make sure that this is all right. So that was an immediate eye-opening experience as well. And from there, every job I had for the next 15, 20 years was bringing me back to project controls. I would kind of like go away and pull away and want to do more, maybe do a little bit more engineering. And everywhere I went, they said, "Oh, you know how to use scheduling software? Great. Come on in. Come on into this room." Um, and what I found, I think, was the greatest part was I've worked on life science projects. I've worked on infrastructure projects, transportation, transit, the energy sector, everything, everything across the board, public high schools to private buildings, and everything in between. So what I learned was it wasn't my knowledge of the actual, I can't build a bioreactor, but I can help the people that are building the bioreactor learn how to put the right process in place and get it and get it across to everyone to communicate it. Um, I always looked at the standards and the controls across the board and wanting to fix them. I found that most of them were, well, what if we made this little change? What if we did this? Made it simpler for everyone. It definitely helped me really become an executive coach. A lot of the jobs I had, I would be asked by the CEO or the COO, "Hey, how am I doing on this?" And it was kind of weird being asked well, you're the CEO, you should be doing
Yeah.
this. But the one in particular was just looking for some help standardizing across the board. So that's pretty much how I got into where I'm at now.
Well, that's very good, Graham. It's also a very interesting skill because yes, many businesses um, sometimes even if the business model is not complex, but
Yep.
you can see how operationally they could get so much complicated. And to have somebody to bring the need to simplify things and take a step back and say, let's make this the simplest way possible, let's see the value add for it. That's not if I dare say, it's not a common skill that's available for all professionals. It really needs you to put the mindset and effort to say, no, well, taking a step back, we're simplifying it. So I can see the add value there.
Yeah, I did find early, or throughout my career that being an engineer, I wasn't the quiet, just do calculations and do do drawings and look at a building or look at a landscape. I was able to connect the management to the engineers. So I'm able to do both. Which is kind of, I always say if I'm getting interviewed by a client for a job, I always say like I'm a Swiss Army knife. What part do you need of me at this time?
Yeah.
So it's definitely helped my career.
And do you feel that the civil engineering part with project management and that process re-engineering and simplifying things had helped? I believe civil engineering brings a lot of more structural thinking of how you look into a project, whereas
Yeah.
project management does need structural thinking, but it also needs a lot more of that collaboration. So, did you feel that transition was easy because of the civil engineering?
I did. I think that you hit it. I smiled when you said it because the structure, being an engineer, I'm A to B. Like my brain goes, well, 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 10, and you're going to hear from why it's 10 from someone else. I I I always felt like I was able to use that engineering mindset to kind of steer the management in the right direction. Um, and maybe think outside the box too. I've engineers do that. I was always a Lego enthusiast. And when I was a kid, I might do the drawing that was on the box. I might build the truck or whatever it was. But within a week, I was tearing it apart, and making it a spaceship because it
Yeah.
was it was cool and it was different. So I found myself kind of veering off course, you know,
Yeah.
playing with the
I,
same tools, just veering off course.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, having the ability to simplify things and think of it from A to B doesn't take away that curious mind and
Right.
the need to innovate. So I get all of that. With all of this background, Graham, and sort of doing the transition and then getting to where you are coaching execs as well with your
Yep.
work, what's one success story that you're very proud of that has taught you a lot as well that you'd be willing to share with us?
Um, I think one of the biggest success stories is probably one relatively recent, in the last 4 or 5 years. I was working at a large public agency and they had hundreds of projects. Their capital program was a very large, robust list of projects, anywhere from a couple 100,000 to a couple 100 million and everywhere in between. And what we found when I was brought in, all of the schedules, all the projects were managed differently, were handled differently. And we found that if we made a schedule, a standardized way of looking at a project, whether it's 100,000 or 100 million, there's a start and a finish to every project. And there's basic steps in between that you need to take. We were able to look at that and say, what if we put that same template together for all projects, and really compare to apples? What the client, the agency liked was the fact that we weren't coming in saying, hey, you need to buy this new software. You need to do this. You need to buy this, buy this, buy this. We basically said, you've got all the tools. Let's just use it the correct way. Let's think differently how we can use them. And we really focused on the quality fundamentals. We focused on templates, we focused on governance and training. So my role on that project, I'm a certified Primavera trainer. So one of my lives is a certified Primavera trainer. But in that case, I was on call to train everyone and anyone on the software to get them to understand. And what was pretty amazing is I was training people that were in the exec level all the way down to the admins. And because we wanted everyone to know why we were doing this. And one of the key issues across any problems like this is having the highest level, the exec buy in and believe in it. Because if they don't believe in it, then it's never going to get pushed down. They're going to say, well, if John doesn't believe in it, why would I do it? He's not going to ask for me to do it, so it's just extra work. It's extra work. We tried to explain to them, you're going to get visibility across your whole portfolio if you work on this. And we also knew that it was about consistency and the buy-in of the template. So the template was a very simple 30 activity template. It wasn't a robust thing that was not manageable. It was something you could really manage a $100 million project, put together a schedule in, a couple hours. Again, I'm not talking about, putting all the details in, but the high level. Okay, we've got design. The design's going to be 18 months. Put that in. Construction, well, it's going to overlap at the end. It's going to be 2 years, or et cetera, et cetera. And what we found was the performance across the portfolio improved almost automatically because I was able to plot out, let's say, milestone report where we were saying financial closeout for the next 400 projects, and you were able to see what quarter of the year it was going to be in. So that not only helped the executive say, oh, wow, we're going to have a really busy season, but it also helped the financial folks say, all right, we're going to have to do a lot of closeouts during this period. We want to make sure we have the right staff in place. So I'd say that was a success story that was recent that I enjoyed looking at it after the fact.
It's that visibility for everybody. It's engaging everybody to look at that problem at their hands that they want to fix, but making sure they're not tackling it in silos. They're all coming round, giving them the visibility of the process in itself and the forecasting for the future. So I could see how that, as you said, as soon as that started to happen, the process improved automatically. They've started to witness the benefit.
Absolutely, yeah. And what you also found is you needed less outside help. Us as consultants, we're working ourselves out of jobs. We always are. The goal isn't to bring a consultant in and have them there for years and years and
Absolutely.
years. It's to come in, consult, fix, and leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also, because you mentioned something very interesting, which I'm a strong believer in, is not coming and helping an organization and immediately saying, well, you need to purchase the solution because that will fix your life. And
Yeah,
you find this not just in consultants, but there are lots of work situations with colleagues around, in any business you work with and any teams, that there is a mindset sometimes that a system is a fix.
yeah,
The tool will help solve the process. Whereas
yeah,
sometimes they don't take a step back and do an inventory of their entire tech stack. Are they using the tech stack that they have to its maximum capability? Are they stretching it even more, trying to use it in different scenarios, but still within what it can give? And those are really powerful because then you'll get the buy-in of everybody involved. Because every that, I believe, is part of change management. And if you are
yeah.
yet to include another system, then there's something else they have to learn, something else they have to deal with. So I really like that you said you go and understand what they use first before you jump into a solution, a tech solution
I,
as such.
yeah, let me add just one thing on that.
Yes.
I was another part of my Swiss Army repertoire is I actually sold Primavera for a company. So I was in there trying to sell software years ago. And what we would go in there and tell them is, you've got a system, and the system's consisted of three areas: people, process, and technology. And we would go in, we're a software company. What we're doing is selling software, but we would say technology is 20% of the deal.
Mm,
The people and process are the 80%. You're gonna succeed if you have to go in and have no technology whatsoever. You're a paper and pen. You'll succeed. We're trying to help you get that extra 20%. So from a B minus to an A plus, that's where we stand with the software. Um, it, it's allowed me to see when I'm when I'm consulting on jobs, hearing, oh, well, we're going to implement this new software, and they say it's going to take 6 months to implement. I sometimes roll my eyes because it's not going to take 6 months. It's going to take a heck of a lot more than that because
absolutely.
they don't really see they just say, oh, I've got a new toy. Let me play with it. But
Yeah.
that toy doesn't match up for the project you're actually on. It's just the standard toy. So
Yes. Totally agree. Thank you very much for sharing this, Graham. Let's flip the coin.
sure.
You've shared with us a success story. Has there been any experience that was of a difficult learning that you would do things differently after now that you know all of what you know?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that the one of the projects I was on, or one of the companies I worked for a while, we're a union field labor service company. So we scaled up and down based on the peak of the seasons. And early on, when I started for the first 3 or 4 years, we would hire 300 people and then, lay off 300 people within 4 months. And that was the standard. I mean, it's labor union labor people. Um, what amazed me was every year we would have issues. We would come up with problems on the projects, and we couldn't quite put our finger on it. And I think after that, we decided that we would become ISO certified. And the lesson learned there for me was, you can't, you need quality upfront, even if it's a simple process. We weren't looking to make it a leap and a bound for these folks because, again, these are labor force. They're really smart and they're really good at what they do, but they don't know you from a hole in the wall
Mm.
sometimes. They're just, oh, we've got this project in our town. You want to work on it, and that's it. So I think that while quality happened for me and it ended up being a success, the part that I had trouble with was the first few years of realizing it wasn't going to fix itself. You know,
Thank you very much for sharing this story because this resonates with so many quality professionals and businesses I engage with and interact with. When quality is addressed as a tick box exercise to
yes.
say we know it's going to help, therefore let's get it and let's get this certification on the wall, and then we'll be operating successfully, effectively, efficiently. And you think, well, no, hang on a minute, it's the other way around. You need to do all of the hard work. You need to do quality is at the heart of what you're doing, making
Yep.
sure process, people, systems, customers, everybody is aligned and everybody knows where the hands off are in all of those processes. Then you have a management system that's helping you operate successfully, competitively, efficiently. That's when the certification comes. But getting that certificate is not like taking painkillers when you have a headache. This is just not how it works.
And I smile because one of the reasons that it was when I approached management to say we want to get ISO certified, they immediately looked at, ooh, we can put the sticker up on the wall. We can put the sticker on our hard hat. We can say we're ISO certified for customers. It was more than that to the folks in the field. It ended up being more than that, but up front, the owner pretty much wanted it for the little sticker on the hard hat.
Yeah. And this is we're seeing a lot of shift, by the way, in businesses right now to really uphold the essence of quality management and the standards rather than that certification. But I was also, as you were saying, I laughed because I worked previously with a few teams where I made it a rule. It didn't go as far as, when kids have a swear jar. It wasn't that far, but we went to rule to say you'd be penalized, in a jokingly way, if you mention any word that has to do with an ISO standard or a clause. Don't ever refer to it. You can do what it says, but don't ever include that in your written communication, verbal communication. It should be non-existent because if we believe that's the right thing to do, then we shouldn't wait for a clause to tell us. That's how we need to operate. And then
Love it.
once that's business as usual, come and match it to those clauses and get certified if you wish. So we used to do
Yeah.
that as well. So I completely get it.
The only thing I will say is that that little swear jar sign is one of my favorite things to think about when quality comes in is continuous improvement.
Mm,
So it's not just, okay, we're going to do a standard and we're going to do a procedure and we're going to put it out there and it's going to be done. It's this is what we feel works right now based on our test case, but how can we improve it? You know, when I'm reviewing schedules, when I'm reviewing documents, I'm not looking for it to be the end all report and use it for years and years and years. Does it work the way it does? Sure. But is there a better way or is there a cleaner way to do it? Or we all are looking for more efficient ways too.
And it also has the requirements changed because no business operates in a standstill environment anymore. That just doesn't work. So the report you created or the process that you created 2 years ago, it might have been fit for purpose then, but as the context of the business changed and evolved, is that still the right way to get to where you want to get with that process or with that report or with that whatever? Or does it
Yeah,
need to change? And businesses operate in an ever-changing environment. So how could one policy be unchanged for so many years? How could one process be unchanged for so many years when the business context has evolved with time as well?
absolutely.
Um, I'm a big fan of continuous improvement. Sometimes it's a curse, sometimes it's a fan, depending on the environment you're in, but I'm a strong believer. Graham, with all of this experience and all of the clients you consult with, and the exposures you've had, where do you get your knowledge up to date, your inspiration? Any podcasts, any books, any journals you are your go-to reference point?
Um, my daughter's going to laugh when she listens to this at some point. She's in the industry now. She's graduated a couple of years ago. She's a civil engineer. I told her not to, and she ignored me, and she got her master's in civil engineering. But there's a one book that I refer back to a lot. It's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It is fascinating how habits are formed and how habits can be changed over time and how our human interaction, human body handles habits.
Mm,
So that's one book I always refer back to. The other one, I know it's probably cliche more than anything, but The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I refer back to. I literally last night had a whole conversation with my daughter about seek first to understand, then be understood. Habit 5, because she was writing on a document that she was pointing fingers, and I said, you need to ask some questions before you start pointing fingers. And it helps the conversation going with that seek
yeah.
first statement. Um, I think the final thing that I do every day is I have HBR, Harvard Business Review website come up as one of the tabs every morning. I look at it very briefly. Sometimes there's an article that I really can resonate with.
Mm,
I think during 2020 and 2021, there was a lot of discussion on hybrid work and remote work and how to manage teams that way. And that HBR website was very helpful to pull up articles to see what other companies were doing or see the psychology of workers and how to handle them. So what I usually do is once a month, if you we're on my team or on the team that I'm on, I will send out, Graham's monthly reading. And it's usually a 5-minute read, and I just take an article from there and I send it off saying, I found this interesting. Some people love it, some people just file it away, and that's fine too.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Good. I like that approach. I like that approach. Graham's monthly read. That's good. Thank you very much for sharing all of this, Graham. We talked a lot about your experience, but I'm interested in Graham as a person. So I'm gonna before I say goodbye and thanks to you, I'm gonna give you quick fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
A train ride or a flight?
Ooh, where am I going?
You decide. You take your pick.
Flight. I can go further with a flight.
Further with a flight. Now, I know you're an avid marathon runner. So, my next question was going to be whether you're a beach destination person, a mountain retreat, or a city break.
I would say beach.
Beach. So, you balance
Yeah.
between running high energy and relaxing, both
Well, I
uptime and
run.
downtime.
I guess I say beach because I can wear shorts and a t-shirt and run along the beach.
Oh, okay, you do that as well. See, when you say beach for me, it means complete laziness. For me, a
Uh,
beach is just lying down, enjoying the sun, a good book, and that's it.
no, there's a quote by Walt Disney that I it's actually on my Twitter feed or whatever, but it says I cannot stand still, I must explore. That's me to a T. So while I say beach, I'm thinking nice weather. I'm not thinking sit on a beach and read.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like to explore, but I do like to sit on a beach and do nothing as well. I like both of them. And finally, Graham, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, early, early, early. 4 a.m.,
4
4:30.
a.m. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I've been working hard to get into the 5 a.m. club. I'm not
Okay.
part of the 5 a.m. club, but I'm almost getting there. Almost getting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, my running group meets at 5. So 4 a.m. we're up and running, and I'm in bed at 8. So
But that early morning really sets the tone for the whole day.
oh,
I've noticed it getting up in the morning. It completely shifts your energy levels, your brain power, your productivity throughout the day. It's really powerful.
I find it too. I know people will swear by the night owl, but yeah, early all the way through.
Good, good, good. Well, Graham, thank you so much for joining this conversation and for sharing all of your insights. You have been listening to Rashad in Conversation with me, your host, Rashad Isa. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit subscribe, follow, or download as I bring you monthly guests from around the world to share their stories of the quality profession.
Thanks, Rashad.